go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And it is a Saturday, which means that it is what?
Feedback time.
Feedback time. That's right. The day where we let you know what we're thinking about the things that you thought about, the things that we thought throughout the week. And of course, today we're actually doing it early. This is like a before 10 a.m. This is the earliest show we've done in a long time. And it's just we was up. So we said, why not? You know, we already had our Bojangles. I got my coffee.
Yes, Bojangles.
Let's go. You know, the official weapon of the show is
the taser,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. So segments. We're going to talk about the people that wrote in on our website, people that wrote us emails, the people that voted in the polls, the people that left comments on Spotify, on our everywhere, people that left voicemails if we have any. We'll read 5-star reviews, but we didn't get any this week. So no 5-star reviews this time. And I feel like I'm leaving something out. Emails, I think. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get to, but the first people that we always like to give shout out to on the feedback episode, the people that give us money.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tie to the Black Guy Who Tips.
New day. New De Niro. Let's go. Johanna M, Ricka A, Pretty Ricka, what they call him, Douglas R, David from Brooklyn, Cavis D, Laura F, Chris from Hawaii, Brianna F, Tabitha M, Corey Deticular, Alexis H, Triple A, April A, there you go, who was a brand new. Oh wait, this is a regular. My bad. This is a mistake. This went to the wrong folder. This is just a new subscriber to the premium. Thank you, premium subscriber.
Thank you, baby.
My bad for putting your stuff in the wrong folder. Marlon B, yes, Marlon B, Wanga from Down Under, Tanya S, Latricia C, and lastly, Dostry J. Thank you, everybody. Took the time out to donate this week. We appreciate y'all. And some people might think, how come the premium people don't get shout out? Just like people that are premium listeners to the podcast behind the paywall. Well, there's two main reasons. One, it's too many of y'all. We literally wouldn't get through the show. And then two, you do get something for the money you put in.
Y'all
get a bunch of behind the paywall episodes. Like just this week, I was thinking, you know, we did multiple movie reviews. We did a Lip Smacking Good last night, Nerd Off last week. You know, balls deep in the pregame last week. We are constantly making sure
we've been pumping them out.
We are constantly making sure that y'all get what y'all pay for.
Yes, and just the tip, y'all get what y'all pay for too, because Roger been consistent with that every week.
Every week, yeah. We said 2 to 4 times a week, but it's been, 2 to 4 times a month, but it's been literally 4 times a month. You know, it's been every week. I put something behind that paywall for the people that do just the tip. So, you know, occasionally we get that question, just in case. Maybe let's just answer somebody's question without them having to go look it up. But yeah, we that's why. So, all right, now let's get into the comments on the episodes on the website and on Spotify. On the website, our feedback episode, we did 4 episodes this week, was Caucasians. We had 6 comments on this episode. I'm Sasha Pierce says, tough poll. And the poll was funnier clip, Caucasians guy or Carlton talking about white women.
Oh no, now them is good. I still gotta go with Carlton though, because I love that shit. That shit makes me laugh every time I hear it.
tough poll. I went with Carlton, but the Caucasian guy is pretty good too, right?
Yes.
Mentioned that he'll start watching C-SPAN for more fact-based news. I'd also suggest PBS NewsHour and anything NPR produce, just the facts and to get you in and out pretty quick. Yeah. You know what's funny? I always feel like it's interesting when people are so liberal they hate like C-SPAN and NPR and shit. I'm always like, those are the most diet, like those are closest to where I'm at. You know what I mean? But I know people that hate, they're like, they not liberal enough.
Yeah, sometimes I've come to the conclusion that maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just old. Some people are fucking delusional. Like they are like delusional on how the world functions and how these things go, and they are so hard and so convicted to they're so extreme. You go, you know, it's only 3 of y'all, right? And it's not enough of y'all to actually support the shit that you want. So yeah, you're gonna have to dial it back some, and not that other people don't want what you want. But the average person ain't at that point yet. Like, you're going to have to slowly progress people there. And a lot of those people are like all or nothing. It's like, okay, cool. But then when y'all get the shit y'all want, it's not around and it doesn't get the support it needs because most people are like, oh, that's too extreme. I don't want that shit. So you're delusional.
Yeah, I think that's part of it for sure. But also, I think, you know, there are people that hold grudges for shit in a way that I don't. Like, they'll remember like the one report they didn't like at NPR and then be like, they ain't shit from now on, you know, because it's a big ass news organization with a lot of people at it. Occasionally gonna publish something that you either disagree with or you didn't think they went hard enough on or you thought they went too hard or whatever. And there's people that really hold grudges in the way that I don't for those channels. I don't really hold a lot of grudges in that way. Unless it's just like a continuous thing for me. And like even when I talk about like Rachel Maddow, I keep saying I ain't mad at Rachel Maddow. I'm not like boycotting her. It's just not my vibe. And I hope she continues to do well, but it's not like, you know, fuck her, fuck MSNBC. Like, no, it's okay for it not to be for me. And still, you know, respect that they're trying the best they can do or whatever, you know.
Yeah, because everybody has an audience. So if these organizations are not around, then you get nothing. So that's why I say that's where that sometimes that delusional come in, and people feel like, well, if it's not for me, it just should not have the right to exist. We live in a world like that for some people, and you're like, that's stupid. Like, it should still have the right to exist. People still consume these things. They shouldn't just go away and evaporate and disappear because it's just something that you don't like.
I wasn't talking about that, but yes, I agree. Like, the people that are all the way to it shouldn't exist, I definitely agree. But, you know, my whole general vibe is just like I said, it's just interesting because to me, those are like the ones where I'd be like, oh, cool, finally, just the facts and boring news. And there's some people out there like, this ain't the facts. This is still twisted, you know?
Yeah, because I think we also live in an era where people want to be entertained. And people are not entertained by straight facts.
Well, I'm not talking about entertainment. I'm talking about they're saying these facts are not liberal enough. These channels are not liberal enough. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's not entertainment. It's just, you know, whatever their belief system is, they want, if it is not 100% mirrored by the outlets that they view, like, they don't fuck with it, you know? And sometimes, you know, to me, it's like sometimes people publish something that either you don't agree with or the facts just don't line up with what you think, you know? And I still like this is, I don't know why we're going down this rabbit hole, but it was just a side that I was just making, which was just, she's saying, check out C-SPAN and NPR, and I'm saying, and PBS News Hours, and I'm like, yes, I will check those out. And but at the same time, it made me think about the people that are like, not even them. It's like, what the fuck do you watch? Like,
right? What's the alternative? It's
like you must watch some shit where it's like 3 people listening to that shit.
And like somebody say, it's about as bad as a white ring sometimes. Like, yeah, because y'all are so far out there. It's like, oh, it's 5 of y'all out there. Like, y'all are so progressive and so out there where you're like, hey, dog, y'all are not the monopoly here.
Yeah, I feel like those people just, they don't watch, like, everything they watch upsets them, and they probably mostly only fuck with like their Twitter feed or whatever they've hand selected to be like, these amount of accounts, these opinions are okay, but nothing else.
Correct.
Appia says, for me, Will Smith's apology is good enough because what else could he say? I could, of course, send him my apology to Beyonce as inspiration. It's good that he didn't stay stubborn and said that everything he did was cool. Yeah, you know what's funny is I was looking at the news this week, and Deshaun Watson issued a quote unquote apology to the women that he sexually harassed, assaulted allegedly. And that to me was the non-apology type of apology. Like that was to me a very clear, like, I'm not admitting shit. If y'all need me to say I'm sorry for something, I'll just say I'm sorry that these women feel a way about the way I'm. And that to me was like how I think when people get upset with somebody, they don't want to admit like there's a power in being upset and saying, no, you don't get to come back. You don't get, there's a power that, and we love that power, and we don't want to give it up. And so every apology isn't enough if you already feel that way.
Correct.
There's just because you're looking for something to make you not feel that way anymore, and to not make you feel that power. And normally the only thing that can erase that is time and actions, and it takes a while. Like there's no one moment where you're like, oh, because he said this apology. The only time you see that is when people already want to forgive the person. Then they're like, cool, I accept it. I think you really did just fuck up, but for somebody, with these strangers, celebrities that we don't really know, it's just easier to stay mad and say they didn't do shit, or to treat all the apologies as not enough. But the truth of the matter is, I thought, in my opinion, that his apology was good, especially for all the fucking excuses I've seen made for that dude, and for him to go directly against it. And so the people that were making those excuses should look at themselves and be like, why was I making an excuse that this man is like, that's fucking, I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? Like that's, as opposed to, some of the other stuff I've seen.
Right. And also I think for a lot of people, like you say, they like that control, they like that power, they don't want to give it up. And like I said before, and it's something I keep harping on, everybody's projecting, even me and you. And I think that, people don't want to admit how they feel about certain things. It's less of a reflection of the actions and the things that happen, and more of a reflection of you. You don't forgive. There's nothing anybody can say to make it right with you. You hold grudges. So because you do, you expect everybody else around you to have this same thing. Some people do feel this way, not everybody, but some people really do feel this way. And looking at you forgive makes me think about my actions and why don't I forgive? And I refuse. So it's fuck you and fuck them too.
I think also just people have different life experiences. I haven't had a lot of betrayal in my life. I haven't, like, I've erected boundaries around myself as far as like wanting to be my own person and not be influenced by just any, here's a group of people, they're saying this, I need to agree with them. And you have to find that line of what's yourself and what's, I don't want to be contrarian, but I also don't want to just like let people steamroll over me with their opinion, and because they have a strong opinion, I'm just like, let me move out the way, and if everybody's mad, then I guess I won't say anything, even though I think y'all are being fucked up. So I've had to define myself that way. But some people have been like, fucked over in unhealthy ways with people they trusted, people they love, and so the boundaries they've had to erect are more like walls. They're more like, hey, steadfast, I'm erring on the side of fuck you forever. You made a mistake, and you can never ever get back in my good graces again. I don't care how long it is. I don't care what you do. What you did shocked me in a way that to protect myself, I need to be away from you. And I think with the parasocial relationships of celebrities, it extends to them. Whereas for me, the number one thing is I try to remember I don't really know these motherfuckers. But then number two is I really don't walk around in the world thinking everybody's a secret piece of shit.
Right.
And so him doing this didn't trigger my, oh my God, he's always been a secret piece of shit. It triggered my, oh, he made a horrible mistake. But and it's probably just the way, I came up in my neighborhood and our neighborhood. I knew people that made mistakes like this. And I'm not even saying it's good or bad. It just is what it is. it wasn't a big deal that I seen somebody have a violent outburst, and then at some point in life they weren't, like, we didn't see them as that only, like. And so I'm sure that I am tainted in that way of seeing violence in a way where it's like the worst, most traumatizing thing, but also it was so routine that I don't see it as the deal breaker a lot of people do. That being said, I still think what he did was unacceptable, and he should have apologized. Correct. And only time will tell if he meant it. I mean, I have a feeling that dude's gonna die without ever punching somebody else on stage or some shit like that. So it's probably a non-issue that'll go away over time.
Agreed. And also I think that like I said, your life experience means a lot. And like I said, I'm in a much better space than I used to be, because I know years ago I was that person. I did have those walls up. I was very, and I got very mean, because people like that are very mean. Where they be like, "Oh no, nobody will betray me. Never again." You put these walls up. You're very mean, regardless of how you think of it. And I don't mean that as mean in a mean way, but it's just like people come around you, and guess what? They can see those walls, regardless of how you project, regardless if you smile up there. People will bump into those walls. They will see those walls. And guess what? Most people will just leave you alone and let you be, which is cool. But at the end of the day, for a percentage of people, they're not happy there, and a lot of it is this is a protection mechanism going, I don't want to be hurt again. Well, it's one of those things that I had to learn. Life is just full of hurt and pain, and nobody wants to admit that, and everybody tries their best to prevent it, and sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. But that's a part of growing and just living. But some people go, nope, you did something to me. And this is, in my opinion, this is why you have a lot of stupid arguments and debates online about the most minute shit, is because you got hurt when you were 12 and you're still holding on to that, versus actually looking at it more from a more mature place and a more
or you got hurt when you were 50.
True.
I mean, like people are constantly in the flux, like reacting to things as they happen to their life experience, so like I've never really had to feel some of this pain, or just the way I've handled some of the things that have happened in my life have just been different because they've been informed by different things. So like,
agreed.
I think when we have a public fuck up like this and a public apology, it puts us all in a position of feeling like we're on a higher level of forgiving or not forgiving, because they're asking for the public's forgiveness, and
it's gonna be all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So you just got to deal with it. And to me, this isn't one of those things, but I feel like I'm like this with most celebrity shit. I don't really get off on this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get off on, there's so many of these celebrities that are like the hate club. It doesn't do nothing for me. Like, I don't know them for real. It's not that big a deal. And maybe people feel that way the other way, where it's like, it's not a big deal for me to hate these people. And I guess to me, hate feels like wasted energy if it's not really affecting my life. I do think it, raises the blood pressure, exhausts the mind.
It does.
And
I think tires you out.
I also think it makes people very gullible and easy to fool. I was looking at something today where somebody shared a picture of Dr. Oz kissing Trump star on the Walk of Hollywood fame or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's real or not, right? I just saw the picture and the tweet, and my first thought was, is this real?
Right.
Now, the reason I thought that is because it so is exactly what I think about that guy. Like, look at this piece of shit kissing up to Trump star, chasing fame. Like, what a asshole he turned out to be, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know if he would do something that blatant. I don't, maybe he did, maybe didn't. I didn't want to research it, but I just went, is this real? Because it's so perfectly set up to manipulate the fact that I hate that dude. Mm-hmm. So there's very few things, like, all you got to do is show me that image and I want to share it and tell people, fuck him, he ain't shit. I think most people do not question that impulse in themselves.
Agreed.
Most people just go, I want it to be true, feels true, it's true, regardless of the fact check later or not. And I think that has led to a mass delusion online, a mass delusion in real life. And I think it's very easy to fall into that slope. And so one gateway to that is this celebrity hate shit. It's, we all hate this person, right? And it's like, yeah, we all hate them. And then next thing you know, you're spreading lies about the motherfucker. You're believing Chris Pratt is shading his son with his first wife because of a status he wrote about his new wife. You can believe it because you want to believe it. And so those are the things I worry about. Anyway, let's get back to this. I don't get into online fights. I sometimes get annoyed or sad, but no fights. What I do, say LOL and block this person. It does solve the problem because I forget them pretty quickly. Yeah, that does help. I think blocking people is very good. I don't know why some people seem to like pat themselves on the back for not blocking people, because to me it's like, I don't know, it seems like a no-brainer.
Right. And like I said, and for good or bad or indifferent, one thing about being an adult and making adult decisions and dealing with shit as a child that I had to deal with, I don't have to deal with or put up with anything that I don't want to. I don't have to. Everything you do in your life is optional. So you being in my feed that I'm actually in control of, I can go, no, you don't have to be here.
Yeah.
And I can block you and keep it trekking, because that's the advantage and the choice of being an adult. Why do I want things around me to stress me out? That's how I function. I don't like things around me to stress me out. I don't like things around me to make me mad and upset me. I don't like those things around me. Sometimes I don't have a choice. Cool. But if I got a choice, you don't have to be there, and neither do I.
I think a lot of times people are also in denial about how annoyed they are, how bothered they are, how much that conflict drives them, and they get off on a dopamine rush. I think a lot of times people are annoyed or in denial, and you see people, you know, I see sometimes when my friends or somebody are going off and they're replying to a bunch of fucking bots, you know, and I'm just like, okay, so that's not a real person. You just needed someone to express that opinion so you could be angry about it. And I get it when you know, if it's fun for you, it's fun. And if it's bothering you, it's bothering you. Only you know for sure. But a lot of times I remember me feeling like this isn't bothering me, but it was bothering me. And I would say it wasn't bothering me, and I think it didn't bother me, but I would be thinking about it when I wasn't online later. And so it's like, oh, once I could admit that to myself, it was just easier to see it in other people. When that is not an option, I can't block on the KTG forum, for example. I start talking about food. Troll, you are as bad as Hitler and Putin, and the earth is flat. I think I will cook tomato soup today. This behavior gives me the satisfaction of confusing the other person.
Come on through, tomato soup.
It feels better than not answering, and they don't know what to answer. It's often pretty funny. I never return to the topic. I only talk about food.
Hey, do you do a grilled cheese sandwich on the side too? Let's go.
Sometimes I used to hit the okay and stuff like that, but mostly now it's like, unless I can make a joke, I typically don't respond to people that I feel like are just trolling or just shit posting.
Right.
You know, if I can make a joke, then I might do it. Or if the topic is a joke, like I went viral yesterday kind of because I made a tweet about the Nicole Kidman ad at the AMC.
They show every single time.
Yeah, and people were all up in my mentions. People were apparently there's like a Nicole Kidman, we love this hive, and these people like go to the theater and they clap during it and shit. Just weirdo behavior.
Wow, I've never seen that in real life.
Yeah, and so I just made jokes about it, you know. And I think they were mostly joking. Some people were rude, but you know, like, oh, shut the fuck up or whatever. But I was like, what, I said something that was funny. People that in good humor responded back, and you know, I wasn't gonna let it bother me too bad. And I still ended up muting it just because you know, a couple hundred people in your mentions, it becomes a lot. You're like, okay, I got it. Like, we get it. You like Nicole Kidman's capitalism and the propaganda that they're selling your AMC. Continue on. but yeah, it was just like a funny thing to me, and then I moved on. But yeah, if it would have been like serious and I would have felt that anger creeping up or that whatever, I just and in this case I didn't feel it, and I still just muted and moved on, because I think online interactions are it can get to you. She also says, by the way, I'm listening to this show on Sunday morning and hearing Karen laugh at my Beyonce comment, as I hope she would. Started my day pretty in a good way. I might add Karen to my Beyonce altar in our basement. And she said, the Caucasian guy is so creepy. I agree.
Yes, he is.
Maya says, while listening to the Caucasian clip, all I could think of was the I like white girls more better, especially Pogs, the thick kind. Laughing my ass off. The cooning for white girls trifecta is now complete. Yeah, that's crazy.
We do got a trifecta. We got a top three.
I don't know why that is so funny to me. I know why logically it's so funny to me.
Right.
But there's so many things that are funny to me. But a coon ass nigga that love white women is forever funny to me. It's just like they just women. They just women like anybody else.
Right.
But
Just normal people.
that supremacy be on them, man. They really. It's been like that in my life, like in real life, not just online, where you're talking to some dude and you just don't realize, like, oh, this nigga is just, he love white girls like it's a drug or something. Like it's like he really think white women is special and different. It's just so crazy to me.
Normal people.
Oh my God. But yeah, it's and it seems like it's the kind of thing that niggas don't like to talk about or admit to because how it makes us look. But to me, it's always been hilarious that there's niggas out there that do that shit. So I'm not gonna lie about it. Like if I'm in a random conversation and then somebody just start bringing up white girls sounding like these dudes, I start laughing in their face. Like, whoa, you think white women different? They're special? All right, I guess somebody needs to read a textbook.
Right.
Keith says, you guys are right about how social media will warp your behavior and perception of things if you let it. For a long time, I used to have this thought in my head that if a person was sufficiently toxic, a right winger or a person who subscribed to one of the more various phobias, then it was okay to dunk on them for saying stupid shit. And if I'm being honest, I still do feel that way. But on Twitter specifically, that type of attention is a reward to them, as the algorithm just grows their account and their influence. Yeah. And quite often, what I end up doing is sending the tweet to like a friend or texting it and being like, yo, you see this shit? Because I don't want to give them that like click, but I still want to commiserate with somebody like, yo, look at this shit. And I don't want to use my public Twitter account normally to react to the person, and not just because it's like gonna be a headache for me, but more so like sometimes I feel like if the thing they want is attention, why am I giving it to them?
Agreed.
And there's just certain tweets that are so set up to go viral.
Yes.
And then social media isn't the place for a discussion. Really, it's really for like pushing one way or the other to the extreme. So yeah, I absolutely understand what you're saying. It's like when you see some of these like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a great example. She says reprehensible shit. People dunk on her. She says more reprehensible shit. Do people think she's learning from these quote unquote draggings, or it's the thing she's learning is if I say terrible shit, more people will share it?
Right.
She like you hating her gives her cachet with the people she wants to like her. It makes her look good that the right people hate her. I forget the podcast how I've told y'all about it weeks ago, and I'm sorry for not remembering the exact episode, but I won't say it's Vox Conversations. But when they talked about how like the rise to power to Ron DeSantis and Trump and stuff was hating the right groups and having the right people hate them. And the same thing they said for AOC. Her rise to prominence on social media isn't because of who loves her, it's because of who hates her. Because the right people hate her, it makes the people that quote unquote love her more and hold her up even when it's times where she does something that's kind of counterproductive or she says something that goes back on something or whatever. It's like we can't ever not support her because look who hates her. We need to show her love.
We have to have this undying loyalty.
Yeah, it just is what it is.
Right, which can be very dangerous.
It was difficult to train myself to stop doing this. Also, I feel like someone is rude to me, talks to me sideways, or just generally being a dick to me, I can show them that I'm much better at it. But I started noticing I had a lot of followers rooting for the show I was putting on.
Right.
And what was even more bizarre to me was that I'd have randos hopping in my mentions knowing I was going to do this to them. Yep. That was how a big lesson I had to learn.
Because that's how the platform is set up, because it's not real life.
Well, I was just telling you, inform people how to treat you by what you give attention to. And I was telling people, if you really want my attention, be mean to me, be rude to me, say something sideways. I'll take the time out of my day and disproportionately direct that attention to you. It's the same property, or it's the same way we run this feedback show. We could highlight all the people that write in and disagree, or the people that have left 1-star reviews, or the people. We could do that every week. And you know what the show turned into? A lot of people just writing in to argue with us. Instead of people writing in when they like us or agree with us or just want to say something kind, and have something said back or whatever. It would be people writing in to tell us we ain't shit, because they know that we reply, you ain't shit, and they get that attention every week. And, you know, there's been times when I've curated this feedback show where I'm like, okay, this person wrote something very mean. I'm just putting it in my idiot folder on my email. I'm never replying to them, and I'm never reading it on the air.
Right.
Because all I'm doing is inviting that person to return, and I'm telling the next person that's listening, you should do the same thing, because then you'll get the attention.
Correct.
I started feeling really uncomfortable with how this made me feel, and over time I was able to slowly wean myself off doing it too much. I can't lie and act like I never do it anymore.
Yeah, because it's a drug, it's a high. You know, the platforms reward you for that behavior, and nobody is above it. You can no matter how big or how small your following is, or whatever the case may be, nobody is above that. And that's really hard for people to wrap their mind around, because it's like, well, I can do it, but I only got, let's say 100 followers. How dare you do it? You got 1 million. Well, they're just like you. They're human, got these emotions, got things happening in their life, got external things happening just like you. But people assume that you got money. All of a sudden, you're not human. You're supposed to be superhuman. You're not supposed to have all these things that other regular people have, but they're people too.
Yep. And that stuff about people camping out in your mentions, and people would send me, and this happens sometimes now, people send me tweets to be like, look how fucked up this is, or hey man, you say something about this. And it's like, I'm not your fucking wind up doll, and honestly, you're just sending me content to make me upset. Like, I'm okay. There's enough in the world to be upset about without needing you to hit me up with that.
Ain't it though?
So yeah, I think I think that's a big part of it. All right, let's get to the poll. Funnier clip: Caucasians guy or Carlton talking about white women?
Mine is Carlton.
48% of people agree with you, which means 52% say the new king is the Caucasians guy.
Oh, the new king, he done dethroned him.
And on Spotify, it's even bigger. 66% like the Caucasian guy over Carlton. Listen, the new king.
Is it because Carlton had like additional people? This dude it was all him. He didn't have no assistance.
I like the Caucasian girls. They like to feel on me. I like to feel on them. Double D's. Hey, that's what it is.
I think it's the accent too. And then when you play the whole clip in context, it don't do them any more favors.
No, it don't. I should make him look worse.
Like the black woman cheating on him, leading him directly into cooning is top 5 hilarious things ever.
No, that didn't have nothing to do with her. You already headed down that road, buddy.
The low key part, I just can't find a use for the clip really, but the sleeper in that whole collection is, I got everything in my mama's name. That's a good one. He's talking about throwing that stuff. I like he was good. Anyway, the comment was the Q&A. That's my booty. No one else's booty.
Then she turn around and she giving the booty to some other cat. Nah, it ain't going down like that. I can't have it. That's only my booty. Nobody else's booty.
That's my booty. Nobody else's booty. It's hilarious. I like your booty, but I'm not gay. If you know, you know, says Piccolo tight to death. I don't know what this means. What are you, a pirate? Ernest says the booty is mine. It belongs to me. You cannot have my booty. Oh, is that from Brown Sugar? Is that what that's from? Anyway, Roger says make Foghorn Leghorn black again. Hashtag make Foghorn Leghorn black again. Hashtag he ain't Caucasian. What? You the only coon in denial about that one, brother. I'm sorry. It's obvious
that dude is a white chicken.
Yeah.
He is unseasoned.
I'm starting to question your black radar. Don't never drive through Lynchburg, South Carolina. I know you're gonna stop and get some gas. Raphael says, I was sweating before I could cast my vote in this poll. This was too tough. I thought today was Sunday. Choose kindness or my NFT, and don't make me have to make tough choices again. To me, my VR booty. All right, the next episode is 2582. Meet me in the cornfield. 3 comments. Let's get to them. Appia left 2 of them. I get being angry about COVID being endemic, but the new coronavirus is very good at being a virus. That fact alone, that is contentious before symptoms, is pretty smart, and remixes mutations still consistently the charts. Statistics, I'm proud of myself here. I guess tops the charts. People have been stupid, and lots of them unnecessarily died. Still, unfortunately, we can't control everything. Both things can be true. I've given up on thinking having COVID once would be it for me. Not with my job, not with smaller kids. Still, she said, yeah, still consistently hits the charts. Yeah. I'm with you, Appia. I'm just trying to get over the PTSD of it and the apprehension and anxiety and stuff. And it'll probably be a little bit longer, but you know, I've been going to the movies, you know. When I go to the movies, you know, if no one's sitting near me, I'll eat some popcorn. Last time, drank some water, you know, wore my mask most of the movie, but I did take it off to eat my popcorn. So I think it's gonna be little shit like that before I'm like comfortable being like, all right, I'm going out to eat. You hope you don't get COVID, but you're boosted, you're vaccinated, and you know, and you're taking a chance the same way I was taking a chance with the flu my whole life. Every time I went out to go do something and play basketball and shit, and I never thought about it that way, but I was, you know, I was absolutely taking a chance with the flu or pneumonia or whatever the fuck. And you just get used to it to a certain extent. And I think it's just going to be really important to stay vaccinated and shit, and pay attention to your local outbreak statuses and stuff. But yeah, at some point I anticipate doing shit inside again and just taking that risk, you know. And I don't know when, but you know, what, I'm never going to another Hornets game the rest of my life. We're never gonna do another live show for the rest of my life.
Oh no, nigga.
Well, you the one that's we not even, you know, I don't even want to do nothing. Like at some point it's gonna.
Yeah, I know I'm being extreme, but I like going to the Hornets games.
Well, there's a difference between oh no, nigga, and the way you are now. And all I'm saying is that I need to go through that process to arrive at a place where I'm like, yes, I go to the gym and I don't have a mask on, and I'm just, you know, doing my thing and hoping that I don't get it. You know, I don't know when that's gonna be. I think I'm still stressed about COVID and so much that we don't know about long COVID and stuff. I don't feel, and it's a feeling. This is not some science shit necessarily. I don't feel comfortable with that level of risk right now. Maybe I will at some point. Evie Bibby says, I lost my dad to COVID and a couple of cousins, and every family member I know who got it also ended up with some new serious, expensive, pre-existing condition as a result. So I'm very much not over it, and I never got a chance to be or even a break. I'm still angry and sad. I know people are faring a lot better in recent months, but I'm still disappointed. People couldn't even be convinced to act right, which reports on how getting it is personally bad for you. I understand that we can't control it and never could. I just wish it hadn't got to the point that people are throwing their hands in the air and completely giving up globally.
Right.
especially considering even vaccinated people catch it and end up with heart problems and issues with cognitive function. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I think the difference is I just, and this is, you know, the way I think about the world, I knew we were going to get to this point. I just didn't, I mean, what's been almost 3 years? Did y'all think for 3 years the world was going to shut down? For real, for real? I didn't. Not like, honestly, we made it longer than I thought. Like, this shit to me was like, the people that got vaccinated eventually are gonna go close enough. And the people that didn't get vaccinated never were gonna concede that they should. And then, unfortunately, on this globe, people need to live, make a living, so you can't shut the economy down forever. Governments can't give people money forever. Indefinitely, because, you know, you see from the inflation and shit, there are real consequences to it. It was just gonna always end up with something like this, with us just going out. I think still it's still kind of early. I think it'll get better in some areas, but you know, this shit where you got people like traveling abroad knowing that they're gonna possibly miss multiple connection flights, that is something that is not the CDC's fault. Is not just it was never going to be a point where that didn't happen.
Right.
People were just going to go do their thing at some point. I'm worried that loosened or relaxed guidance from government officials could lead to situations where people want to properly quarantine or actually rest to reduce their chances of a rebound, but their job is like, you get a week, we short staff. There are just so many moving parts, and while I understand why that's happening, what's happening is happening, doesn't mean I have to like it or think it's good, because I'm living with 2 lung conditions as it is. Don't need this stress. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's reasonable and rational to not think it's good, but I think the way my brain works was, this is going to happen. So now I have to start bracing for the fact this is going to happen. It's like I could just be mad, like, we should have did this. We should be. Republicans wouldn't vote for more money from the government so that people could continue to even get vaccines for free.
Right.
You're not even gonna be able to get the vaccines free after a while. It's gonna be like, do you have insurance?
Yes, sir. Or you gotta pay out of pocket. Yeah, like I maybe it's because we covered this news every day, or I have to look it up every day. I've been seeing this writing on the wall for a long time, and now it's just like the chickens are coming home to roost, and it sucks. It sucks. I don't like it, but I'm not yelling, angry, mad about it either. It's just like, okay, cool. We're at that part now. All right, here we go. Let's buckle down. Have you ever had a dispute with a neighbor? Yes or no? 22% yes, 78% no. Karen? I don't think I have either. Definitely not the, you know, shoot a nigga time, but I don't think I've really even had like a beef. I had a neighbor that was uncomfortable when I would get out of my car. She would always wait till I went in the house to get out of her car and go in the house. Which I always just found like maybe racist, maybe just scared that the black man who lives next door is you know, some type of, I mean, well, that sounds racist too, but maybe just, you know, trying to protect herself. You know, I never got too upset about it. I never said anything to her about it, but you know, I noticed it like, okay, well, we've been living here for a year. You think if I was that motherfucker, I would have said or done some creepy shit by now, but I'm not. But it was like, cool, you mind your business, I mind mine. We don't gotta talk. So no, I never really had beef with a neighbor. And then on the Spotify, higher percentage, 47% have, 53% have not. You know why? Because they got the money, they homeowners, you know.
So then they have to have beef because they gotta live, they can't just rent out and move. Stop wasting delicious fried chicken on your racist games. B Sola says, wow, once again, poor chicken is at the center of yet another controversy. Let them be sacrificed for the delicious cause in peace. LOL. Exactly. I don't know why the fuck people like, why are we so pressed about this?
Chickens are dying every day, people, at churches, Popeyes, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Really?
Raphael says, Langston says a neighbor I've never met before came up to me while I was cutting grass and asked if I had a dog that's been barking all night. I told her no. She said, "Are you sure?" The fuck? And yes, she was. Not even sure how that's racist, but sure. I hear you. Raphael says closest
making accusations.
Yeah, she was
she might as well say it's a dog named King. His name is King, ain't it? ma'am, I don't even have a dog.
Closest to falling out with a neighbor was when she covered our car with snow. When confronted, she immediately apologized and together with her daughter removed it. Did she just want to be friends? Keith says racism, although spicy, is not a seasoning. The chicken deserves all the respect and glory that salt and pepper to taste racist hands can't possibly deliver. What's wrong with y'all? Right. Leave the chicken out of it.
Leave the chicken alone.
Filling the blank party was the next episode. We got 3 comments. This is episode 2583. Appia says, as an outsider, I wasn't a fan of Joe Biden, but now I think he does a lot of things right and seems pretty smart and more progressive than I thought. He is one of the better old white men out there, in my opinion. So no price of diversity. But yeah, she says, yeah, she don't hate him. And I always just thought, that's what primaries do. It makes you very hyperbolic, and the littlest differences become the biggest milestones. But I always thought like he won because he wasn't that rigid. Like, there's not a lot of fucking old white men that are going to end up better than Joe Biden because he doesn't really seem that dogmatic. He's like, if enough people want something and they're telling me and the people on my side are yelling at me about it, then I'll just fucking do it that way.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what we need right now.
He's like, ain't no ego about it. Cool.
Like, honestly, I like his shit even better than Bernie because, like, sometimes Bernie shit would be like, I said what I said and I'm sticking to this because I've been saying it for 40 years. And it's like, well, Bernie, we're giving you props. You progress the conversation enough. We're past what you were talking about.
Right.
Like, we don't want just like the thing you said. Like a big one for me was like everybody moving to $15 minimum wage. Hey man, pat yourself on the back. We made it. Yeah. Now if somebody comes along and says I'll do $17 minimum wage, I don't want you to be like, I said 15.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
Alice says, hey, K-Rod, I want to check in and thank you for keeping us updated on coronavirus news. Seems like the rest of the world forgot. My psychiatrist said I have anxiety and agoraphobia because I stay in the house so much, but there's still a deadly pandemic killing hundreds of people every week.
Right.
And I don't want to have a chronic illness like long COVID because doctors hate fat people, and I don't think I get the best care. And 3 people I know who never got it just got it in 1 week. And I live with my elderly mother, and I don't want to give it to her. I might have mental health issues, but you know what? I never got COVID, which also exacerbates mental health issues sometimes. But listen, I will say this part. I am not your psychiatrist. I don't know nothing about your personal diagnosis. So I'm prone to say if the person you're paying that knows more about your mental health than me says you have anxiety and agoraphobia, hey, that's something y'all got to work out between the two of y'all. Don't let no podcast, don't let no internet nigga tell you some shit that medically I don't have no fucking business saying. That being said, nothing you brought up is not true. And I think, and maybe I got it too, because I think about that shit a lot where I'm like, hey man, this shit is fucking people up. And it seems like a lot of people have just decided to ignore it. But when you can't ignore it is when you got that long COVID shit.
Right. And we know how the medical system is. Black and brown and marginalized people, guess what? We didn't get the best fucking healthcare prior to COVID. So you think they're gonna up the game because of COVID? No, bitch.
Well, that's not the part I'm worried about, because that's a macro thing. I don't live in the macro, I live in the micro. I know who my physician is, my personal care physician. I've seen her, had her. She's been great. So I'm not sitting up here going like, she just gonna let me die because I got the COVID. My problem is really just that we don't know enough. There's an article I haven't read on the show yet that's about long COVID and how some of the mental health issues, even 2 years later, there's no end in sight for some people that ended up with these new anxieties, depression, stuff like that. So there's a lot that we don't know. I don't think there's a penalty for being the last motherfucker to want to get out here in the world, you know, and to see like maybe something better will come along, you know, maybe we can figure something else out. But there's still a lot we don't know about this shit. So no, I'm good. But yeah, at the same time, please do not take our podcast over the advice of a psychiatrist and shit. Maybe they can help you out in some areas, but in general, I don't disagree with you. Thanks also for boosting Democrats' recent successes. I think they have a lot to look forward to in these midterms. Your refreshing outlook on politics keeps me grounded. Elise rhymes like Khalees. Okay. Yes, Elise. And I would say I think it was even Mitch McConnell that was now hinting that they might lose some Senate seats. Where did y'all hear that first? You definitely heard that here first, because I know nobody else was saying it.
Yeah, Joe Byron was on TV and he basically gave the blueprint. We have been passing shit. We have been doing shit. Look, these are the things we did. Not only that, not one motherfucking Republican out of 50 of them voted for this. He emphasized on that to let people know we did this shit and we did it and we didn't really get no help. And so if y'all want us to do more, you need to get these people out these seats.
Yeah, and I told people, man, Roe v. Wade overturned shit. That
lit a fire up underneath a lot of people.
There was a lot of people who thought they could sit things out. They didn't think it was real. They thought this shit was settled. And unlike even marriage equality, which affects a percentage of people, but not the big overwhelming percentage, like Roe v. Wade overturns the rights of 50-something% of people. Anyone that has, you know, uterus, vagina, that kind of, you are now losing a right that you thought you had.
Right.
Even with marriage equality, you're talking about whatever percentage of the population identifies as the kind of person that would marry someone, want to marry somebody of the same sex. Not like marry. Now we're talking about an even smaller portion. So like that's a right that a lot of motherfuckers feel like that ain't got nothing to do with me. Making somebody have a baby got a lot to do with everybody. Whether you're the kind of person that would be impregnating somebody, or you're the kind of person that would get pregnant, that's a right that people want. And I saw a thread the other day where someone went through and was statistically looking at the new registrants in states for voters. And it was a high percentage of women registering for the first time to vote Democrat.
They like, what you not gonna do is take my motherfucking rights.
These Republicans better be scared. They better be scared. And they have totally sold their party to Trump. So in places where obviously they've gerrymandered and it's just so red that the reddest person will win, or the backlash like against Liz Cheney, I get that those districts are probably hopeless. But anyone that's a moderate, anybody that's in one of these purple districts, states that are purple that have elections coming up, yo, these Republicans gotta be scared because like people are mad.
Yes, they was like, fuck this and fuck you. And they was like, and the thing is, and what's so funny, the thing that the pure base of your party, you can get a lot of them to agree on. It's a lot of people that don't agree, and there's a lot more people that are like, oh, that's the topic right there I don't agree on, and I'm gonna make it clear that I do not agree on this bullshit.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are ready to vote, man, and that's the thing. I believe in that more than I believe in the Democrats pass policy so people will go vote. Right. Because we saw what happened with the Virginia governor position, where that man passed all the policy to put them into a fucking liberal utopia, and those motherfuckers set out the next election and let the anti-CRT, I don't like gay people person win. So I don't believe in that shit. I know that's a progressive linchpin, but it has not been proven. that if Democrats get to work and give us all the policies, it's easy. They will win the election over and over again. Too many times I've seen Democrats put their career on the line to give the people what they claim they want and end up losing. What we need is our own set of grievances. And Roe v. Wade is a great grievance.
Yes, it is.
It's sad because so many people will be affected by it, but if that's what it's going to take to get people politically active to pay some motherfucking attention,
let's go.
Then I guess that's what it's going to have to be. I don't want it to be that way, but I'm not the person that didn't vote. Have you legally changed your name as the poll? 92% no, 8% yes.
You mean just change it all together?
Change your name. We had an article
when I got married, but not what you're talking about.
No, we had an article. Remember where people were changing their name, like Caleb to Caleb or whatever, right? So that kind of legal change. Not, I hope people didn't fuck up my poll by being like, when I got married.
Because it's legal.
I know, but you just pointed out a flaw in my perfect logic, Karen.
My bad. I didn't.
No, you didn't. It's not your bad.
Okay.
It's science. I messed up. 7% yes, 93% no on Spotify. Put the gun down. It's just a parking space. Was a comment. Roger says, by the way, are y'all watching rap shit? No, not yet. Might binge it. I don't know. Aaron says, in LA, this parking makes me want to shoot somebody. Miss Barnes says, no, I saw it first. JB says, it's principalities in this. And Raphael says, I had to legally change my name to my name because on my way to America, immigration switched my middle with my first name on my green card. So I couldn't join the Navy as docs didn't match until I went to court.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out to the Navy. You probably could join now, though, because they need the help.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody signing up to get shot no more.
Nope.
The last episode of the week was Lobster Mac and Cheese is mid. We got some comments. Chubb Zero says, haven't heard this episode yet, but my wife and I tried the lobster mac and cheese at Ruth Chris, and I gotta say, it's very underwhelming. Yeah, I said this on Twitter. This is another thing that went viral. and most people agree with it. But of course, you have people that don't agree. But if you notice the one common thing they had when they didn't agree, they named lobster mac and cheese from one specific place. And it always be like, oh, it's over off of Pier 6 in Baltimore. They get them fresh out of the sea
by hand.
you gotta take your lobster around the corner to a dumpster, and then you gotta knock 3 times. The dumpster moves out the way, it opens up a secret door, and then you say the word partition, and then they let you in, and then in the back it's a woman with one eye and 7 fingers on her left hand, and she know how to make it. And it's like, that's my point. Thank you. If that's what you got to do to have the good lobster mac and cheese, that's what I mean by saying it's mid. That means you had to do all this.
You had to go out of your
I
way.
know one place in South Carolina. What in nigga this mid? You see what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't. You know what I'll never say to you? I know one place you can get some good fried chicken. Because it's a lot. Because fried chicken is good.
I know several places that got delicious.
It's not mid. It's good. You never had to say that shit. If you go to the behind the wall at the Kroger and you knock on the, like, no, niggas, you want some fried chicken? Any other places, just stop. Go there. Appia says, great idea not to cover HIV prep or cancer prevention in a worker shortage. How motivated will you be to work when freshly infected with HIV or getting cancer? Answer, probably not very much. Plus, cost for treatment for HIV and cancer probably way higher. And she put great in quotes. Yeah, I don't get it. Why would you not cover that unless you, hate. That's why I answered hate. And the cancer prevention thing, just what kind of cheap shit is that? And I guarantee you there'll be one of those places that goes, we don't know why we can't hire people. We don't know why we
right. That's like the places who be like minimum wage, and they like, well, I don't know why we can't hire people, and then 12 2 years later, it was like, we raised our wage to $15 an hour. Now we have people are beating down our door. Yes, bitch.
Yeah, but this is even worse because it's full-time positions with very limited health coverage.
Right, and a lot of it is the more shit they cover, the more cost for them, and they might not want. They like cheap.
Maybe, but I think also the ones that they're not choosing not to cover pregnancy. They're picking the gay shit. They're picking.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, like if you're gonna cover everything, like this doesn't make sense.
It's just like you're picking the ones you don't like, you know.
Right, which you should not be allowed to
like
do.
We'll cover you if you're pregnant. We won't cover your birth control. Well, birth control is cheaper. So
ain't it cheaper?
Yeah. So how does it make sense that they would not cover it? Clearly there's a moral something somewhere that's doing the logic for them. Republicans seem to have no imagination, therefore lack empathy. Pregnancy is complicated. I had one miscarriage before kid number 2. It was pretty early, no heartbeat yet, but this was just pure chance. I did nothing wrong. At least 1 in 4 pregnancies, probably more, end up in miscarriage. When it's so early, the pregnant person might think it's a strong period that came too late. Not helping these women is just cruel and creates more suffering. I agree.
More women have miscarriages than people are willing to admit. And it's one of those things where a lot of women fall into people with uteruses and vaginas fall into these categories that people have a tendency to ignore, because everybody assumes you get pregnant, you're going to have a healthy baby and you're going to go through the whole process and your baby might not be born premature or have health conditions. Everybody just assumes that everybody have all these healthy children, and that's not always the case.
She also says, but I must say I fully support the invention of the right-wing dating app because I'm secretly right-wing. Right now you think you finally got me. No such luck. I support it because should Mr. Appia ever leave me, I know where not to go, and the other apps should be less crowded with Nazis. You think so, but my guess is that the Nazis are just going to create multiple accounts. Like they'll be on Plenty of Fish and and what is this? I forget the name of this one. The Right Stuff.
You got the right
way. Yeah, I think it was The Right
baby.
Stuff. So they'll be on that too. I'm Sasha Pierce says Rod's Melania Trump voice took me out. I swear it was her if I didn't know it was Rod. More Melania news, please. Just so we can hear that impression. She don't make the news often, so I'll see what I can do. It's a very limited Melania Trump. I'm not sure how good it is, but I do like doing it. You know, Donna. That's the one that gets me. Like she makes his name sound like Donnell. And like Donna. Anyway, so what your RWH 2016 says, what you're basically saying is Liz Cheney equals lawful evil. Donald Trump equals chaotic evil. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense, I guess. Yeah, she just don't like the way he do it. She want all the same shit. She just don't like his way.
She want all the same shit.
Like she's one of those people that I do understand the idea of nuance and separating her from Donald Trump in a way. I think that makes sense, and I'm a fan of people that can hold that water and carry it at the same time. That being said, ultimately, I'd be lying if I said it was some major difference to me. It's not. She is still a trash ass politician, in my opinion. Does that mean that I want her to lose her seat and a worse person get it? No, but ultimately, will that worse person truly affect change in a way that Liz wasn't going to? Only on one issue.
Right.
Now, that's the most important issue, in my opinion, but we can do this without her. Trump needs to be taken to justice, whether Liz Cheney agrees with it or not. Elise says, I had a lobster grilled cheese and crepe cod, and it didn't. So I'm gonna say mid because that was the end of the sentence.
And it was top secret classified.
The poll: lobster mac and cheese, bussin', mid, or trash? 29% said bussin'. I mean, bussin' like they bus kids to segregation schools.
Oh no!
Sure. Mid 38% and trash 33%, which means 70% of people think the shit is mid to trash, which is that's fair. And of course, on Spotify, 16% of people think it's busting, meaning people that have, that's because these people have actually been able to afford to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Multiple
a lot of people,
times in multiple places because they got that crab and they got that cheese money, and they don't go
lobster.
I'm sorry, they got that lobster and cheese money, and they don't go to the places where they just throw a brick of American cheese. They go to the places where they put the fancy cheeses on, and they still said no.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the poll is 16% on Spotify and 29% because I think they're more aspirational and they're like, oh, when I get that, it looks so good. I never had it, but it's got to be buzzing. 58% say it's mid, 26% say it's trash. So even higher percentage of people say it's trash and bad to mid. And CDCD's nuts was the comment. Dante says, calm down, Peter Thiel will get excited. Start right-wing grinder, then ban himself. White family says, I can't lie. If I go to jail, I want to ride or die who will bear it all while I'm doing my bid. That's the least she could do if I make all the take all the charges. And Sean says, that's what they said. And by they, I guess you mean the Republicans that died from COVID. I don't know. All right, we gotta check to see if there's any voicemails, and then we got emails, and we'll wrap this thing up.
Okay.
This early showing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see voicemails. I'm not seeing any, so that just leaves emails, and then we're out of here.
Voicemails is 704.
You know what? Fuck them. It's in the show notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Ron says, Rod, what you did not mention on the story about the guy who had warrants and called the police about cold fries with that he asked the cop, am I under arrest? And the cop answered, yes. Reminded me of that woman telling the judge in her lawsuit over the missed date, are we done here? Yeah, she was tripping too.
Are we done here? Are we done?
Right.
No, you don't understand, ma'am. You don't understand.
Are we done here? Are we done here?
Yeah. My favorite line from her is actually,
You looked and saw my intelligence.
that's what you looked and saw my intelligence. My wife and I replayed the news segment over and over, laughing at that idiot asking the cop that stupid question. Am I under arrest? That is stupid. L Brothers says, what up, niggas? Just writing in to chime in on a couple of things mentioned on Wednesday's Lobster Mac episode. First of all, you are absolutely right about Lobster Mac, Rod. That shit is mid as fuck. The idea of it is incredible, but it always sounds way better than it is. But like dummies, we continue to be hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok by it. We didn't land on Lobster Mac. Lobster Mac landed on us. I agree. I agree, man. That's the part that I'm really, anyone that can truly understand the joke I was making, understand my real frustration isn't with lobster mac and cheese. It's myself. Because I still keep fucking trying it. I keep being like, nah, this shit look delicious. How can this be fucked up? How can this not work? It's lobster and it's mac and cheese. Of course I'll spend the $37 at this food truck of black people that I want to see prosper. And then as soon as I take a bite, I'm like, why the fuck didn't I remember? You can't make this work. It don't work.
It's like we instantly forget.
Yeah. All these niggas in my mentions, I'm like, fam, I didn't say this after trying it once.
Yeah,
I said this after trying this shit dozens of times. It's not good.
In food trucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Black people, Asian people, I don't care what your race is. I've had it by every hand in every location. And no, I don't care if you got to get the secret ring of power and go to motherfucking Mount Voldemort or whatever the fuck. And then see the dragon, and in his lair he'll make you lobster mac and cheese, and then it's good. Well, then guess what? It ain't good. Think about it, dummy. And I'm really just talking to myself. On another note, When you shared your random thought about racehorse piss being more potent than regular horse piss, I immediately thought to myself, but what if that's why they run so fast? What if they make the horse drink a bunch of water before the race, and the race itself isn't for horse bragging rights? What if they're all running to get to the bathroom? Anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll holler at y'all. Peace. I thought the same thing. But honestly, when you gotta pee, you don't run faster. Like, I don't know if y'all, when you gotta pee, you gotta do that like tight walk, which is like the horses are all of you like galloping weird and shit.
With their hoods between their legs.
Right. The last one, the going nowhere party. John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. Karen, I'm with you. The rational part of my brain knows the situation with COVID is different now. I've taken all the precautions I could take. We probably were never going to be able to reach herd immunity because even if America somehow miraculously could be sensible, other countries might not and and the variants were likely coming no matter what. But the emotional part of my brain will be forever pissed at these fuckers who refuse to get vaccinated, wear a mask, or do anything other than gave us all a chance to maximize the effects of the 3 extremely effective and safe vaccines. At a time of literal life and death, they decided to say fuck it and put us all at risk, and I don't know if I'll ever get over that. I view these people much the same as the people who sat out the 2016 election or didn't take it seriously. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap between the two.
Yeah, I feel the same, man. Like I said, maybe the anger won't be as visceral, but the anger will always be there because I'm like, yeah, we may have gotten here regardless, but we didn't have to take this route. We actually went the bumpy road because so many people said fuck it.
Yeah, I'm on your side. I don't want you to feel like I'm not on your side and understanding your anger and stuff. I guess I'm just saying everything you just said is why I'm not mad. Because I'm like, seen it in every step. And a long time ago, I said, well, I know where we're going to end up. We're going to have to live with this and live with this in a way that's going to hurt us in a much deeper, long-term affecting way than we probably would have had to, because our country is that fucking stupid and divided.
Yeah, and a lot of it, like I said, a lot of it is somewhat denial and delusion, because I'm not gonna say a higher expectation of humanity, but I was like, nigga, it's killing people. People go, well, fuck it. This, I was like, death is permanent. And I don't care about death. And so, for me, my anger is coming from a place to, like, I was like, oh, so this is the reality now. And that's where my anger comes from. And I know that's all on me. Like, that's 100% on me.
I did not have a higher belief in humanity. I never saw a reason to. We was coming on this show every day saying exactly why not to.
Yeah.
Every fucking day it was just, ivermectin, Joe Rogan, Republican politicians cutting funding. Like, I'm sorry, what, and then just looking at other countries, they weren't beating it, and they had the shit that we had. Like, they didn't even fuck around the way we fucked around, and even they were struggling. So I knew we was gonna find out in a harsh way that was gonna lead to us just being like, I guess everybody's back out here. And to their credit, everybody's not just back out here. I saw something the other day, like they were talking about specifically downtown Charlotte jobs. Only like 58% of staff have returned. So like companies aren't really 100% gung-ho with all this shit anyway. So just it's not 100% back. I think people are just scared that it's going to go back, but there's a lot of people still not ready to go back. And it's not just us. It's, 42%. And we're talking about downtown Charlotte, these jobs that are so important, banking jobs. And 42% of them at home. Yes. A lot of people see what we see, y'all. We're not crazy.
No, we're not crazy. We're not living in reality. And like I said, I think that my anger is valid. And like I said, maybe if I would looked at it differently, but I am who I am. So for
your anger is valid.
Yeah, right. So
nobody's telling you it's not valid. No, like I understand and empathize with it. It's that thing. I don't have to share an emotion to understand the emotion. You know, it's just, I think my time to be upset with this, and maybe it'll come back again, but it was months ago. When I was mad as fuck reading these articles because I was just seeing where it was gonna go, and now we here, and I'm like, well, no, I've been prepared because you motherfuckers kept driving the car here, you know, like
yeah, and it's very, very frustrating. And I'm like, I'm looking at people while we were reading this article and stuff. Like, am I the only one to know that you don't come back from death? Like, I don't comprehend.
Well, now,
this.
But see, that's the thing. Now with the vaccines and shit, it's not a death problem anymore. People aren't dying at the rate that they were dying. Even with people still dying, it's mostly a bunch of unvaccinated people. Some older people that have not got their boosters or let their shit wane or whatever. But in general, the people that are dying right now they don't have to die. They're just choosing to die for this bullshit.
Right.
But even more important, even if nobody was dying, we still got to live with this shit.
Agreed.
There's never going to be a chance of 0% coronavirus in our lifetime. That's it.
Yeah. And that's the reality of it. And so, because I was the type of person who went to the other extreme, I was like, no, that shit is real. It is out there. I was like, I'm not going to the other extreme to go fuck it. And I think that I am still on the extreme side. I still go out and still do stuff, very limited amount of stuff. I am not 100% back to where I was before, and I do not know how long it's going to take me to do these things. I think that, you know, there are things that I do miss, and I know we eventually will get back to these things. Don't know when, you know, but there's some things that I enjoyed going to the Hornets games. Like, that was fun. You know, and do enjoy going to the movies. I miss eating inside of restaurants, things like that. But there are some boundaries, like you say. And what's so fucked up is, as a society, when we don't do it as a group project, everybody's be like, well, everybody on their own. This is the end result, where everybody making up their own rules according to how they feel.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how it's been for a while. That's how it's gonna be. Rod, you are absolutely right about Andrew Yang and his bullshit. There's a saying in political science that people don't vote based on policy, they vote based on identity, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. Yang and his followers like the identity of pretending to be too smart to favor any particular party, unlike the rest of us sheeple. I've known several people like this. Some are libertarians, some were strident Bernie bros and Green Party dudes, but they all seem to care much more about positioning themselves as the cool people who are so much more savvy than everyone else, and they don't really care about electoral results. They just like the posture. Anyway, Yang's party shouldn't be the forward party. It should be the spinning in the circle, telling yourself your special party while helping to elect Republicans. Yeah, man. There's people like that, a lot of them. And I remember seeing that shit specifically in 2016. And yeah, you never see the mea culpas. You never see them admit they were wrong. The best you can hope for is that some of them get in line and start saying the right shit now because they fucked around and found out. And they're never going to have a moment of like, you know, I totally called that wrong. And, you know, when I seen you posting shit and talking about it on your podcast and stuff, and I made jokes about it, I was wrong. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get that moment. So I'm not waiting on it. Rod, just curious, did you review the new David Simon series about the Baltimore PD anywhere? Oh, you're talking about We Own This City? I watched it. I loved it.
Yeah, you talked about on Balls Deep Sports.
Yeah, pregame, but I didn't. No, I didn't do an official review. I haven't reviewed a TV series in
a long time.
Years. I stopped reviewing TV series because I don't like my TV viewing to be work. Sometimes I don't even really like talking about what I'm watching when we do the pregame because, as y'all can see, every time I talk about something I like, and I know it's coming from a good place. Okay, everybody calm down. I get suggestions for 10 more fucking things I don't have the time to watch. So it's like, you know, sometimes I barely want to tell people I like something because it's just like, I watched the Woodstock documentary on Netflix, and then immediately you got to watch the one on HBO. Nigga, I'm not watching another documentary on the same thing.
Like, one time was enough.
It's nothing possible they could cover that will make 4 more hours of my time or whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. I don't want it. I just don't know 2 things. I didn't see the clip of DMX. I think I'll be okay, everybody. I got the fucking basic point. No offense to y'all. I know y'all love me and it's nice.
Oh yeah. It's always come from a good place because it's like, oh, I enjoy this thing too. I want you to enjoy it with me. That's where it's coming from. Yeah,
I get where it's coming from, but I only got so much time. I'm just one man. I think I saw you and Justin briefly talk about a pregame, but I was curious to hear your general thoughts. I'm one episode in, but I think it's pretty good so far. It has a lot of potential. Cheers. Stay safe to you both, John. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was fucking great. Yeah, I don't really have anything deep to add to it. I thought it was great. It was well worth your time. I thought it was a smart show. There's a small controversy about the black cop that possibly had his hands dirty and killed himself in the line of duty to cover up the fact that he had been involved with possibly some illegal shit early on in his career. I don't know if it's true or not. I saw people fighting with David Simon about it on Twitter, but a lot of the people that was fighting with him were people I don't really fuck with. So, and I also thought it was kind of like the lines were all over the place. So we do fuck with the police and he was upstanding, or we don't fuck with the police, or is it like black cops are cool or are they not cool?
Right.
David Simon was, was referencing the fact that it was a third-party investigation that found the findings that he put in the thing. So it just seemed like overly needlessly complicated unless I knew more about the case, and I didn't. I just liked the TV show. The TV show was good, and that's where I'm at. So I hope y'all enjoy it too. That's it for this feedback show. We'll be back later on in the week. Thanks to everybody that wrote in, and please leave us 5-star reviews so we have something to read next week. If you listen to sound my voice, that would be nice. And
update it. If you already left one, leave the other one.
Yeah. So that's it. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.